Well, hello everyone. I'm looking remarkably red on here, but never mind. Behind me, you can see a photograph of me. I'm largely obscured by a great big wing mirror, but I'm standing with my great pal Dave Chappell from the Bridgewater and District Trades Council. And this is a photo that was actually taken, I think, by another great friend, Keith Patton, while we were on our picket line in 2019. And you can see that we are talking there to a driver, parcel force driver, who had just driven all the way up from Exeter with a special delivery. And we persuaded him that he ought to turn around and drive back again, which is exactly what he did. You can rely on the CWU for solidarity in these situations. So that was our experience of being on the picket line at Bridgewater in 2020. Now I wonder whether we'll be doing the same thing again this year. I hope not, really. I hope that we actually get a really good ballot result this time round. And if we get that really good ballot result, then we will actually be able to go into, as they say, meaningful negotiations with the principal and senior management, who will, I'm sure, say that they just cannot afford anything like a movement towards reflecting the current state of inflation. Now, of course, we always talk in terms of percentages, don't we? And of course, the claim that is made nationally on behalf of colleagues in further education. And when we talk about colleagues, we mean staff in general in further education, because don't forget that UCU is no longer the lecturers' union. We actually support all staff who are engaged in the process of working directly with students. Of course, if you are not doing that and you're working in a college, then you will almost certainly belong to our sister union, Unison, although there are one or two other unions in other colleges as well. But in this college, it's UCU or Unison. And if you're a student-facing colleague, then it's very likely that you will be a member of UCU. If you're not a member of either union, you definitely need to ask yourself a question there, because you are probably sitting there and thinking, I don't need to be a member of a union. I quite enjoy my job. I think I'm well paid. I get plenty of holidays. I look forward to the end of my week where I can have my time off with my family, come back refreshed, and look forward to the next week because I really enjoy my job. Well, I think we all want to think like that, but we all need to recognize as well that over the last 180 years, 190 years since we saw the establishment of trade unions in this country, the things that you are looking forward to have largely been won by trade union action. I think it was the great Bob Crow of the RMT who actually said something along the lines of, if you fight, you might not always win, but if you don't fight, you'll always lose. And I think that's the situation that we find ourselves in now as well. We know that there are people in our college who are not members of our union, and to some extent we think they're freeloaders. We actually do an awful lot of work behind the scenes, negotiating, talking about health and safety, looking after people when they need us to support them in meetings and so on. Those people who don't belong to trade unions are taking all the good things that come from that relationship which has been established between unions and management, but they're not actually giving anything back. And we think that's a shame. Nevertheless, it won't stop us. So we are now in the process of our ballot, our national ballot, which is for pay. And we've been offered so far 2.5%. Now, there will be economists who will actually say that it's dangerous to have wage rises because it just contributes to inflation. It's dangerous to have high wage rises because it will produce high inflation and so on. Now, we have to think whether or not that relates to our current position, our current situation. We have high inflation in this country. We're up to 11.9% now, inflation in the retail price index. 11.9%. And yet we've not really had any wage rises. So this inflation is actually coming entirely from external pressures. And it's got nothing to do with other industries having wage rises either. It's to do with, to some extent, the pandemic. It's to do very especially to do with the war in Ukraine and the change in the price of foodstuffs, the change in the price of fuel, the change in the price of fuel for transport, and so on as well. And those prices have been going up and up and up, and our heating is going up, our energy bills are going up, everything is going up, and it's nothing to do with wages. So all that we are trying to do is to make sure that our members and our colleagues and the members of our sister union, Unison, are actually able to keep up with this horrific rise in price for so many essential items that we all have to have in order to support ourselves and our families. And there are people in colleges around the country who simply cannot afford to support themselves and their families. We have the ludicrous position of Abingdon and Whitney College, where the principal there has suggested that the staff could use the college food bank, whereas all he really needed to do was to make sure that staff were properly remunerated for the work that they were doing. In this college and in the Association of Colleges, we have the bizarre pronouncement from the head of the AOC that they were not interested in meeting the real living wage and becoming living wage employers because they weren't interested in badges. Well, I've got news for them. We're not terribly interested in badges either. And if you clap us, or if you give us badges for being here for 5 years and 10 years, or for 20 years, plus a £20 Amazon token, £1 for every year that you'd been here, that's wrong on so many levels. So no, we're not interested in badges either, but we are interested in wages. And we're interested in proper wage rises for people across the board. That's what we're interested in.